Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen. Also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Monty Markham, Catherine Justice, Lyndon Childs. Tonight's episode, Doomed Alibi.
There it was pitch black. The fellow was way up at the top of the tree. Couldn't even see his hair in front of his face. All of a sudden, the limb let go, and there he did, hit the ground, flat like a rock. Then all the dogs jumped on him except old Lou.
George.
And then old Lou jumped on him.
Isn't that Vince Barrett?
I think it is. Oh, Henry. Hey, this is fantastic. There you go, girls. Dig in. Now, come on, just dig in, dig in. Oh, Henry, that's just what the man ordered.
George, do you think he'd take a picture with us?
Oh, now, Irma, let's not bother.
Oh, come on, George.
Irma.
That's the first movie star I've ever seen. Come on, George.
Right. Just keep all the wine and the food flowing, Henry. As the man said, we pass this way but once.
Mr. Barrett?
Yes.
Mr. Barrett?
Huh?
Mr. Barrett? George Anderson, Duluth, Minnesota.
Well, I'm pleased to meet you, Mr. Anderson. Henry, would you pour some champagne for the ladies?
Oh, this here's my wife, Irma.
Miss Anderson, my pleasure.
Oh, George and I never missed one of your television shows.
Well, thank you.
Comanche Sun, Flaming Desert, Slinging Lead.
Well, you folks are mighty kind, but you sure are going back a few years. I've been out of the show business for some time now, and I'm just ordinary businessman today.
Oh, not in our eyes, Mr. Barrett. Why, you're still one of our favorite Western stars.
Well, thank you, Miss Anderson.
Mr. Barrett, any chance of you taking a picture with me and the wife?
Best chance in the world, Mr. Anderson. It'd be my pleasure. Rita, it is Rita, isn't it, honey? Here, grab that old camera and just snap a picture of me and these fine folks.
Oh,
Right
Mr.
there.
Barrett, thank you so much.
No, it's my pleasure. Do it all the time. Love it, love
Oh,
it.
I'm so thrilled.
You ready?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's him. Pretty free with that pencil, isn't it?
Why not? It's my signature, not his. What'd you say his name is again?
Hatfield. Rick Hatfield. Local disc jockey from some little burg up in the San Joaquin Valley. Santa Carlita, I believe. You want me to call the police?
No.
No. He's already done this 3 times. I think we should call the police.
No, not just yet. Shirley? There he is, sweetheart. Now suppose you find out just how good an impersonation that fella does of me.
Vince, I don't like doing this sort of thing.
Honey, he's the reason I settled you in here. Now just be nice.
Just how nice am I supposed to be to you?
Nice enough to find out what I want to know. Go on. There you go. Oh, you need some more, Miss Anderson, huh?
She's a devil, I tell you.
Oh, that Minnesota girl. Well.
Aren't you Vince Barrett, the motion picture and TV star?
Yes, ma'am, but if that don't please you, I'll be glad to change myself into Snow White and 7 Dwarfs. Yes, sir. He might just come in real handy. Good evening, Ted.
Well, it wasn't until now.
Where's your houseman?
I gave him the night off. What is it, Barrett? I thought I made it clear. We have nothing further to talk about.
Now, Ted, listen to me, will you? Just give me 10 minutes.
I'll do better than that. I'm going to see to it you get 20 years.
Now, Ted.
You've stolen from me long enough. I'm having the company's books audited, and when they're finished, so are you. Now, if you don't mind.
Ted? Now, come on, Ted. You got to listen to reason. I got into some bad investments. I got in over my head.
Not only a lousy crook, you're a rotten businessman as well.
Damn it, man, I'm your partner.
Ex-partner when the audit's done. And you're also an ex-cowboy star. Maybe with a little time off for good behavior, in 10 years, you'll be an ex-con.
You can't do that.
You just watch me. If I were you, I'd get a good lawyer, and fast.
Mr. Jones, I'm sorry I'm late.
That's all right. You must be Chris. Great view you have here.
Oh, yeah. My father used to love this place. He spent as much time down here as he could.
Well, nobody can fault him for that. Say, you mind taking a walk on the beach while we're talking?
Not if you don't mind getting a little sand in your shoes.
Not at all. Very relaxing. Sound of the surf pounding on the beach. I guess, make it difficult to be heard if you're out there yelling for help.
You mean that's why none of the neighbors heard my father call for help? You're wrong, Mr. Jones. There was none.
According to the police report...
Hang the police report, Mr. Jones. My father's death was no accident. He was an excellent swimmer. And more importantly, he had a very hard, fast rule about anybody swimming alone, even himself.
Rules are made to be broken, Chris.
Years ago, his brother David drowned while swimming alone. Dad never got over that. Did you?
Yeah, I see what you mean. Could your father have lost this? I found it up on the deck.
Turquoise, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah. It's more like something Vince Barrett would wear.
Vince Barrett? Cowboy actor?
Yeah, he was a partner of Dad's in a land development deal. Been down here a couple of times on business.
These floodlights, they work on a timer?
Yeah, that was another one of Dad's safety precautions. They come on at sundown every day.
Now, I understand that the beach lights were off when your father's houseman came home. He didn't find his body till he turned the beach lights on.
Which would mean that my father would have had to have turned those lights out and then gone into the surf alone. Now, surely you can't believe that, Mr. Jones.
Well, I don't know what I believe yet, but I just can't leave a question like that in the dark.
And that about wraps up KBEX's late morning news. Now back to the Rick Hatfield Show and some oldies of yesteryear. As the old Duke says, no song like an old song. Pilgrim. Hey, Marty, let me borrow your glasses, will you? I need them to read these commercials.
Then you shouldn't have left your glasses down in L.A.
Come on, Dave. If you'd seen that girl, you wouldn't blame me if I'd forgotten my shoes.
Shoes, I'll loan you. My glasses I need.
Am I to understand you with the drive, a man of his side, just because the beauty of a young lady led him to misplace his glasses? Ooh.
You forget, I checked your action. The chicks you take out, you're better off without glasses.
Not this one, Marty. Sensational figure, low, sexy voice, and a face that would make Da Vinci wig out.
Yeah, sounds like you're the one wigged out.
Wigged out, turned on, and torn up.
Well, I suggest you gather yourself together. That record ends in 5 seconds.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've always said, show me a man who likes an old song, and I'll show you an old man. Yes, yes. And if you'd like to see an old man who'd like to see you, get yourself down to Crazy Ed Hayes. Got so many recreational vehicles on that lot of his.
Hi, I'm Barnaby Jones.
Oh, Mr. Jones, come on in. I'm Ben Rustin, Vince Barrett, attorney.
Thank you.
Vince? This is Barnaby Jones, a private investigator who called.
Detectives. You're one of them fellows that herded me and Wyatt and Bat and the rest of them right on off the tube.
Well, I wish my work were as easy as television shows make it look.
Well, sit down, Mr. Jones, and tell us how we can help lighten the load for you.
Thank you. Chris Mason asked me to look into the death of his father. I thought you might be able to help me.
Poor Ted. I not only lost a good partner, Mr. Jones, I lost a dear friend. I'll be glad to do whatever I can.
Did Mr. Mason have any setbacks recently? Any emotional upsets?
Ted Mason take his own life? You're barking up the wrong tree, Mr. Jones.
There's always a possibility that Ted might have committed suicide.
Suicide? No, Ted wasn't that kind of man.
Yeah, that's the way his son feels. Did he have any enemies?
Well, what man doesn't have a few, but none who'd do him in. No, Mr. Jones. On the face of it, I'm afraid I'd have to agree with the police. It had to be an accident.
Well, it's not the first time I'd wind up chasing my shadow around the rain barrel. Oh, I found this out at the Mason house, and Chris thought it might belong to you.
I'll say it does. Came out of my hat band.
Probably lost it on Saturday night?
No, must have been 2 weeks or more. I've been turning this place upside down looking for it.
And you weren't out at the Mason house over the weekend?
No, I spent the weekend at the Parkhurst Hotel up in Los Angeles. I do appreciate your finding this stone for me. It's a match set. I couldn't replace it.
Any more questions, Mr. Jones?
No, I don't think so right now. If I do have any, I'll give you a call. Thank you.
No, it's my pleasure. I don't like it, not one bit.
Don't get yourself worked up. The night Ted Mason died, you were at the Parkhurst Hotel.
Mm-hmm. And suppose Jones finds that fella who was really there.
I think maybe it's time I paid a call on our disc jockey friend. As your attorney, if I explain to him we're going to press charges, I think maybe he might be persuaded to cooperate.
Man should always consult with his lawyer first. Saves a lot of wear and tear in the long run.
Hello.
Shirley? Guess who?
Well, Vince Barrett, of all people. It's Hatfield. What do I do?
Play him along.
Well, how did you get this number?
From your answering service. Celebrities do have privileges, you know.
Well, it's awfully sweet of you to call, Vince.
It's awful short notice, I know, but, well, I sure would like to see you again.
He wants to see me again.
I told you he'd be a problem.
Tonight?
Tell him you'd like nothing better.
I'd love to, Vince.
What are you thinking?
He's got the phone number here. What happens if he connects you to Shirley? That could mean real trouble.
Ben, we got the company now. There's an awful lot at stake.
I know that.
Can you handle him?
Looks like I'll have to, doesn't it?
Permanently.
All right.
You have to understand, Mr. Jones, we get a lot of celebrities here with all the fans and groupies hanging around. Privacy is the watchword of our establishment.
Yeah, with me, too. I'm a private investigator.
Well, we sure get a lot of fellows like you, too. Bad for business.
Maybe I can help you with the overhead.
Vince Barrett.
Saturday night.
Spent the entire evening in his suite, private party, left a wake-up call at the desk at 1:30.
Now, hold on. That blew by so fast, I just got to breathe.
Well, let's see. There were the Andersons, a middle-aged couple that Barrett picked up by the pool, and a sharp-looking chick, Shirley. I didn't get the last name.
They're still in the hotel?
The Andersons made reservations at Valhalla in Apple Valley. I don't know about the chick. Or the guy who left the glasses.
Glasses?
Housekeeper found a pair of men's glasses in the room after Barrett checked out. They didn't belong to Mr. Anderson. I called Barrett's office. His secretary said he didn't wear glasses. Interesting?
Now, hold on just a minute. Don't tell me. Let me guess. You are in charge of the lost and found department, and the glasses are in your possession.
You got it.
If private eyes are bad for business, I'll bet you never see a recession.
I swear, if that fellow who painted the Mona Lisa could see you right now, he'd have to tear it up and start from scratch.
You could turn a girl's head, Mr. Barrett.
Oh, Vince, honey, same as before. We Barretts don't stand on ceremony.
Well, looks like you came prepared for one.
Flowers for now, a little champagne for later. My daddy always said if you can't win a lady's heart between those two, you don't deserve the family name. Do you mind if we use up a little bit of your sparkling water?
No.
My mama used to say, give cut flowers a taste of the bubbling. Keeps their color fresh, bright for a long, long time.
Sounds like you have plans.
All completely honorable, ma'am. I assure you. Code of the West.
Does the Code of the West include a steak? Huh? I'm starved. Where are we going?
Well, now, that does present a bit of a problem. Much as I want to show you off to the world, I want to keep you all to myself, too.
I know just the place. Ferguson's at the beach. It's small, quiet, and dark enough that no one can tell the famous Vince Barrett from Mickey Mouse.
Oh, I like your thinking, gal. I like your thinking.
No, sir, Mr. Jones. We wouldn't forget these glasses, would we, Irma?
Oh, dear me, no. That was the most exciting evening of our whole vacation.
The dinner you had with Mr. Barrett.
I can't wait to tell my bridge club that we had dinner with a real movie star.
And by the time her bridge club gets through with it, it won't be just a dinner. Irma will have had a screen test, and I'll have had an affair with some young Hollywood starlet.
George.
Who else was at the dinner?
Oh, just the most precious young lady. Mr. Barrett met her by the pool, and I think she was quite taken with him. You know, I'm certain that we have a snapshot of her here somewhere. Let me look.
And who did wear the glasses?
Oh, Vince. Mr. Barrett, of course. But only when he signed the check.
Well, I understood Mr. Barrett didn't wear glasses.
Well, being a Hollywood movie star and all, a fella's got to keep up his image. You don't exactly picture a Western gunfighter wearing a pair of specs now, do you?
Here we are. Shirley and Vince make a handsome couple, don't you think?
Shirley. You didn't have to catch her last name.
Gee, I don't remember. Do you, Irma?
No, but then it was very informal. Like we were all very old friends.
This picture of you with Mr. Barrett taken at the pool, that was taken before dinner.
Right after we met. Like Irma says, we were together from then right on through the whole evening.
Mind if I borrow this?
What do you want a picture of us for?
I promised to return it, and along with it, I promised to give you an enlargement.
8 by 10?
You can depend on it.
That's very nice, George.
All right, thank you very much. You enjoy your vacation, and I'll get this back to you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 You know something, Irma? He didn't even say what he wanted the picture for.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
Doesn't hold a candle to you.
Careful. Flattery has taken a lot of men further than they wanted to go.
That's true. To me, you're just about the prettiest thing I ever laid eyes on. The way you talk, the way you move. Oh, the truth is, I was kind of surprised when you took me up on my offer to go out tonight.
Well, that doesn't sound like the Vince Barrett I know.
Well, now, supposing I wasn't Vince Barrett. Not rich and famous, but just an ordinary guy. How'd you feel about me then?
How would you feel about me if I weren't as pretty as you say?
Now that I know you, I feel exactly the same way. Shirley.
Oh, shh. Don't say any more. That's the sweetest thing anyone's ever said to me. Why don't we take a walk?
Yeah, okay.
I think I should have worn my shawl.
Oh, here, take this.
No, I've got mine back in the car.
Well, I'll get it for
No,
you.
no, don't be silly. I'll get it. Only take me a second.
Okay. Curly. Oh, am I ever glad to see you. I've been waiting out there on that stairwell all night.
Shot.
No, it's okay. It's okay, I think. Oh, no, it's all right. I'm okay.
Take off your jacket.
Man, I waited and I waited. When you didn't come back, I was afraid they'd gotten you too.
No, I panicked when I heard the gunfire. I was afraid to come back to the apartment, so I spent the night with a girlfriend.
You didn't call the police?
I started to, but I guess I'm a coward. I was afraid to get involved. Did you call them?
No, I couldn't.
Even after someone tried to kill you?
There's a reason I can't go to the police. I'm a fake, Shirley. I'm a complete phony.
I don't understand.
I'm not Vince Barrett. I've never even met the man.
What?
I just look like him, and I do a very good impression of Barrett.
Then who are you?
Rick Hatfield. I'm a small-town disc jockey from Santa Carlita. Closest I've ever been to the movies is to buy a ticket.
So then this whole thing was just a game.
Was. Till I met you. I tried to tell you last night, but...
Why do you think someone tried to kill you?
Well, it wasn't me they were after. But they thought I was Barrett. Don't you see, that's why I have to do something. I mean, when they find out Barrett's still alive, they might try again. Barrett has to be warned. If I go to the police...
I'll take it in the bedroom. Why don't you try to get some rest? We'll find a way. Hello.
Cheryl, we got trouble. Ben can't be sure he finished that business with our friend. Just in case, if he calls you.
You shouldn't have tried to kill him, Vince. He did nothing to deserve that.
Honey, I told you we had no choice. But if he gets to the police...
Don't worry, Rick won't go to the police.
Well, now, honey, how do you know that?
Vince, you know how I feel about this thing. What would you say if I told you that Rick's all right and that he's not going to cause you any trouble? How would you feel about it?
Look, if he's okay and we're in the clear, I'm the most relieved man in the world.
Vince, he believes someone was trying to kill you. His first thought was to try to warn you.
He's there now, isn't he?
Yes. I'm not going to let you hurt him, Vince. I won't be a party to it.
Okay. Just bring him out here and I'll reward him for his help, and Ben can caution him against any further masquerades, and we're home free.
Don't lie to me, Vince. Not again.
Trust me, Cheryl. Trust me.
All right. But he's asleep now. It'll be a little while.
Okay. You better not miss this time.
Yes? Who is it?
I'm looking for Mr. Barrett.
Well, I'm sorry he didn't come in today. Perhaps I can help you. I'm Dan Foreman, the controller.
Oh, yes, sir, you could help. I'm Barnaby Jones, representing Chris Mason.
And he's worried about how the company will make out now that his father is gone.
That's right on the button. Somebody else must have posed that question.
Well, Mr. Barrett had anticipated some of the investors might share that view.
Well, Mr. Mason was top dog. He died suddenly. Might have been that it was due to some hanky-panky in the company, mightn't it?
Not with Ted Mason running the show. You can tell young Mason we're as solid as a rock.
And you anticipate that Mr. Barrett will run the company along the policies that Mr. Mason did?
Well, no two men see eye to eye on everything.
For instance?
Well, Mr. Mason had asked for a special audit the week before the accident.
Was the audit completed?
It was never started. Mr. Barrett canceled it.
Why?
He didn't want to make the stockholders nervous.
That seems funny. Now, these head chefs seems to me want to know what's in the pot.
Now, Mr. Jones.
I read a little left to right break. Just a little bit left of the cup.
You have a good eye, Mr. Jones.
That's what brought me here. I want to show you something and see if you see it the same way I did.
Yes, I remember a fine couple.
That was taken the day your partner died.
As a matter of fact, I had dinner with the Andersons that evening.
What's the purpose of all these questions, Mr. Jones? I thought we'd established the fact that Vince was at the Parkhurst Hotel that day and all that evening.
That's what puzzles me. There was something else there, too. Look at this blow-up. Notice that the turquoise stone that I found seems to be in place in your hat band. If you lost that 2 weeks before then, how do you explain it?
By George, I said you had a good eye. But I do recall I switched the band around before the picture so that empty set wouldn't show.
Now, why didn't that occur to me?
Well, I guess with you detective fellas, everything has to be checked out, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. I've checked out about everything except the name of the young lady that the Andersons said had dinner with you that night.
Shirley?
Shirley. You recall her last name?
Shirley Jennings. Charming young lady. If you like, I'd be glad to arrange for you to meet her.
Hello? It's for you.
Yeah.
I got a call from the haystack. They found the needle. Those glasses belong to Rick Hatfield. He lives in Santa Carlita.
Good work, Betty. I'll join you at the office in about an hour. We'll drive up together. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
No more questions, Mr. Jones?
Oh, now I have to go match up some answers. I'll find my way out.
Rick. Here, drink this.
Hey. Thanks. I must have been more tired than I thought.
You'll be happy to know that you don't have to go to the police. I got in touch with Vince Barrett himself.
You did? How'd you get his phone number?
A friend of mine used to work at the studios. Finally, when I got in touch with Mr. Barrett, I told him what happened. He wants to see you right away.
That's great. What'd he say about me?
No. Don't worry. There's not going to be any trouble.
And it's like I said, I want it clearly understood that Miss Jennings had absolutely nothing to do with my impersonation. I understand completely, Mr. Hatfield. Spoken like a gentleman. Now, what's all this about somebody wanting to kill me? Well, it's like Shirley said on the phone. There I was pretending to be you, and some guy took a shot at me. Did you by any chance get a good look at this Bella? Man, did I ever. I'll never forget that face. Mr. Barrett, you don't know how much I appreciate the way you're taking this. I mean, I never expected to. Holy. Mr. Barrett, that man, the one out there. He's the one. Are you sure? Man, I told you, I'd know that guy anywhere. We better call the police. Wait a minute. Something else wrong, Mr. Hatfield? Well, this telephone number is the, That's the one I used to reach Shirley. 2 and 2 do make 4, don't they, Mr. Hatfield?
If you talked to Rick, you know this wouldn't have happened. Ben! Vince! Oh, this... Ben!
Vince?
Open the door, Vince!
Are you okay? Vince?
All right, I'm all right. Okay.
Said you wouldn't hurt him, Vince. You swore!
He's only unconscious. I had to slap him. He saw Ben and he went crazy. He grabbed my gun and we fought over it.
I told you should have let me handle this.
No!
Well, you was going for that gun, you...
Get him out of here. Now, come on, baby. Keep hold of yourself. We're all in this together. It's gonna be all right. Now, come on. It's okay. You just get yourself fixed up. Give me time to do some thinking. It's gonna be all right.
All I know is if I didn't ask him to make a few pre-recorded shows a couple of months back, I'd be up the well-known creek without a paddle.
Does he do this often? I mean, take off without leaving a number or calling in?
No, he's usually pretty reliable. What do you want with Rick anyway?
Oh, I wanted to give him the glasses that he lost.
Hey, he's been going crazy without these. Where did you find them?
Parkhurst Hotel. He left them in a suite there.
That's a first-class pad. Guess that's where the little fox he met must have been staying, since Rick didn't have the bread to spring for anything like that.
Do you happen to know the little fox's name?
Shirley. Rick dedicated at least a dozen numbers to her.
Does he know anyone else in L.A., say, Vince Barrett?
Know him? He knew Barrett inside out. Not personally, I mean, but... Excuse me. Who's that look like?
Vince Barrett.
Wrong. That is little old Rick doing one of his many famous impersonations. But that really fooled you, didn't it?
I'll bet he fools a lot of people.
Oh, what did you make of that?
Like butter in the churn, everything is coming together.
Would you mind spreading it around a little so I could have a sample?
Well, up to now, our main problem has been that one man has been 2 places at the same time. Maybe we have just found the man occupying the other chair. Hello, operator. I'd like to make a call, please. Los Angeles, area code 213-555-7420. Have you got any quarters?
Listen, as long as I'm paying for this call, how about filling me in on who it's to?
Yeah, thank you, operator. Hello, Mr. Foreman. This is Barnaby Jones. Mr. Foreman, I need some information regarding the payment for Mr. Barrett's stay at the Parkhurst Hotel this last weekend. Do you have those records? Sure, I'll hold.
What does that have to do with Rick Hatfield?
Well, the biggest advantage in using another man's identity is that you can use his credit, too. Hello? Yes, I see. Mr. Foreman, have there been any recent charges made in Mr. Barrett's name that he claims were not his? Huh? Well, did they take care of those, too? I see. Well, thank you very much.
Are you going to tell me?
Seems there were several large hotel bills, dinners, rooms, and things like that run up in Barrett's name recently. Barrett claimed they weren't his. His lawyer, Ben Reston's been squabbling with Foreman about them for several weeks.
Well, what?
Well, suddenly, last Saturday night, Reston had them all paid off.
Saturday night. Isn't that the night?
It's the night Ted Mason died.
Going somewhere?
I thought I'd take a drive.
Without saying goodbye? Santa Carlita can be a lovely trip.
You knew it there.
I guessed. The kiss just clinched it.
You were with Barrett all the time.
Not when he wanted you out of the way.
I still don't get it. Why did Barrett want to kill me?
He was using you as an alibi to cover a murder he committed. He couldn't afford having you around. Where are you going?
Call the police.
Oh, darling, wait. You're honest and a little bit square, but don't be a fool, too. You and I are the only two that know who you really are. You can stay Vince Barrett. It's the chance of a lifetime. His money, his success, and me. The two of us together.
And Reston?
We'll cut him in. It'll work perfectly.
Yeah, until they come down on me for that murder Barrett committed.
Wait a minute, please. If you call, I'm an accessory.
Opry, would you get me the police?
Ben! Stop him. He's not really Vince. You shot the wrong man.
What? Put it down. Put it down.
So there are two Vince Barretts.
That's the way it's shaping up. Let's hope there still are two of them.
Now, look, Mr. Reston.
Move it!
Rick, it doesn't have to be this way.
Well, he doesn't seem convinced of that.
Ben, tell him if he plays it our
It's no
way...
good, Cheryl. We don't have any kind of guarantee. We're up to our necks in this thing, and he can talk anytime he wants to. He's going in the woods right alongside Vince. Just keep moving.
If you kill me, you'll be fresh out of Vince Barrett's. I mean, suppose somebody comes around asking for him, huh?
By the time that happens, we'll have bled the company dry, and we'll be long gone.
Yes?
You are Shirley Jennings? I got the name from the registration in the car in the driveway.
If you've come to see Mr. Barrett, he's not at home.
His car's in the garage. So is Mr. Reston's.
They took another car.
That wouldn't by any chance have been Rick Hatfield's?
I'm afraid I don't remember anyone by that name.
That's funny, because Mr. and Mrs. Anderson, remember you were having dinner with them and Rick at the Parkhurst Hotel Saturday night?
I was with Mr. Barrett last Saturday night.
I hope you'll change your mind about that, because being with Mr. Barrett would put you smack dab in the middle of the Ted Mason murder.
You know that much.
I have a feeling you're going to tell me a lot more.
Keep digging. I want it deep.
Deputy, this is Betty Jones.
You mind telling me which one you are?
Rick Hatfield. Right now, I'm glad of it.
Barnaby Jones, starring Buddy Ebsen, also starring Lee Merriweather, with guest stars Nick Nolte, Sheila Larkin, Mark Singer, Simon Scott. Tonight's episode, Trap Play.
And now the climactic end of last year's most unbelievable football season. Behind by 5 points, the final moments of the game slipping away. Quarterback Mark Rainey fades back. It's a long, arching pass. Tanner's got it. Touchdown. Another beautiful play from the magical combination of Mark Rainey to Feather Tanner.
Baby, now you tell me, how come is it every time close-ups it's always you all-American boys and never one of us pretty linemen?
Maynard, that's because linemen don't just work in the pit. They're so ugly they should live in one.
Ooh, Feather.
Some kind of marriage. I worked like a dog so you could spend the paycheck. You couldn't care less if I had a heart attack tomorrow, as long as the life insurance was paid up.
Ken, that's not true.
Keep on. It'll be true.
Your play, babe.
I'd rather play with her.
Nice.
Anybody using your pad in the next couple hours?
Come on. I thought you were swearing off that after the last hassle with your father-in-law.
I have sworn off. Beginning tomorrow morning.
Look, I don't know.
Now, come on. After all the things I've done for you, Feather.
Name's Feather Tanner, ma'am. I've been sent here to ask why a beautiful lady like you is sitting all alone.
I don't understand.
Well, see that handsome devil over there? That's my friend, Mark Rainey. He's a little shy, but he's very eager to meet you.
Mark Rainey, the football player.
I can vouch for him being a gentleman, so why don't you two have a drink together on me? My place is up in the hills, 1298 Clover Drive. Very quiet, very private. Mark will meet you there.
Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, pal, you dig liar's poker?
Yeah.
Well, I need somebody to take my hand. My face is an open book. Right now, my pocketbook.
Well, sure, Feather. I'll be right with you.
Ken, would you like to hear...
Later, I'm going to play liar's poker with the boys. Why don't you have another drink?
Sit right down over here.
All right. Let me have a little elbow room. Run in.
boys. It's time to go home. I'll see you at practice tomorrow, huh?
Okay, hang loose.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
Now, why aren't you inside, relaxing by the warm light of Feather's nice fireplace?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't think I should be here at all. Driving up here gave me time to remember I'm married.
Well, that's a very serious condition. But there are ways to ease the pain.
Don't think I'm as liberated as I thought I was. Afraid I used you to get even with my husband. Don't be angry.
I won't. If you promise not to feel bad. Okay?
Yeah.
Look, I've got to go inside and get my playbook, so why don't you come in and we'll have a drink as a nightcap, and then we'll both drive back into town. Cheers. You know, before I give you back to your husband, there's one thing I'd like to find out.
What's that?
I was right. They taste as good as they look.
Mark, look, I am flattered. And Mark, no. Please, let's stop now. I want to remember a nice man and a nice evening.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Look, we may never get this chance again.
What was the argument about?
Nothing sensible. I just got loud and nasty like I always do when I'm drunk. I don't blame Marcia for walking out on me.
Well, I don't pretend to be a marriage expert, but it seems to me a simple apology could do you a lot more good than a car full of detectives.
I wish I could apologize. Marcia still hasn't come home. It's been 2 days.
Did you try her friends and relatives?
Nobody's seen or heard from her. I've even called the police, the hospitals. No word.
Maybe she's just trying to teach you a lesson.
That's what I thought. But she knew her brother Pete was going to be in town yesterday on his way to Japan. Now, she hasn't seen him in years, and she wouldn't have missed him for anything. But she never showed. I'm worried something's happened to her, something serious.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Harrison. I'll poke around and see what I can find. And if your wife should come back before you hear from me, you take my fee and buy her a great big bunch of American Beauty roses.
Thank you, Mr. Jones. I appreciate it. Is there anything else you need to know?
No, not at the moment. If there is, I'll call you.
It could be that Mrs. Harrison is just exerting her independence, even at the expense of not seeing her brother.
By hiding out? Doesn't sound like the liberated females I've been reading about. If you need me, I'll be at the end run.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, honey.
Just in time for lunch.
Oh, thanks, Jenny, but I just dropped by for a minute to go over some business with Mark.
Oh, okay, but if you change your mind, I'll just be inside.
How's it going, Paul? Well, not too bad. These are the proposals I'm submitting to the ad agency next week. Personal appearances, product endorsements, your own off-season TV show.
I really appreciate what you're doing for me and Jennifer.
That's okay, Mark, as long as you realize that the ad people aren't just buying a quarterback. They're buying a symbol, somebody the youth of America can look up to.
What are you getting at, Paul?
There's a morals clause in those contracts. If your personal behavior isn't up to the highest standards, you could blow the whole deal.
If you're worried about me playing around, those days are long over with.
I came by to see you Sunday night. Jen said you were asleep. I didn't see your car in the garage.
Oh, my car? I lent it to one of my buddies on Sunday. He wanted to see how it felt before he bought one.
Jennifer loves you. I don't want her hurt, understand?
Are you kidding?
Call me when you've gone over those, okay?
There you go. What are you doing these days, Ben?
Just between us old-timers?
My ears are sealed.
Conducting a private investigation.
Gumshoe for the commissioner's office, huh? What a waste of a great baseball mind. Man like you've put into the game what you have. You should be managing in the big leagues.
Oh, I don't know. I think it'd be easier to do investigation than to try to teach these new kids who Eddie Basinski was.
I'm with you.
This lady was in here a couple of nights ago. You see her?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember her. She and her husband come in a lot. He's a big sports fan, and she's a real knockout, huh?
You see her leave?
Yeah, but not with her old man. It looked for a minute like Feather Tanner was going to try to put a move on her. He was at her table before she left, but then she took off alone.
Feather Tanner, the wide receiver for the Cougars?
Hey, you're a football fan, too, huh? Way to go, Ben.
Where did I find Feather Tanner?
Well, I'm not supposed to give that information, but Feather's a great guy. I know he wouldn't mind helping an old-timer. He's got a pad up in the hills, right at the top of Clover Drive.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr.
Hennessy. Jack.
Jackie? If Eddie Basinski comes in, tell him the milk's on me.
Gotcha.
It's open. If you're from the LA Dispatch, you can quote me. Feather Tanner says we are going all the way to the Super Bowl this season.
Well, I'm afraid I'll never be able to report that. You see, the closest I ever came to being a sports writer was covering horseshoes for the Greenville High School Clarion.
Horseshoes? You're talking my language. I'm a country boy myself. Come on in.
Thank you.
Mr.
Jones. Barnaby Jones. I'm a private investigator.
Oh. What can I do for you, Mr. Jones?
Well, I was hoping you might have some information about the lady I'm looking for, Marcia Harrison. She was in the end run Sunday night.
A lot of chicks come in and out of that place.
Jack Hennessy said that you were the last person seen talking to her before she left. She hasn't been heard from since.
Oh. Yeah, now that you mention it, I do remember talking to someone who looks like that, but we just had a couple words together is all, and then she took off by herself.
By herself?
She was alone when she left. You figure this chick's maybe got herself into some sort of trouble?
I certainly hope not. You sure you don't have any idea where she may have gone?
I'd like to help, honest. But that's all I know.
Well, thank you very much. I hope you score a lot of touchdowns this year.
You have any trouble getting game tickets, you let me know.
Thank you, I'll do that.
Hello? Just a minute. It's for you, Mr. Jones.
Hello?
Barnaby, Lieutenant Biddle just called. A police helicopter spotted a car at the bottom of Clover Canyon, which is about a half a mile from where you are. They said it looks like the car that Marcia Harrison was driving.
Thank you, Betty. I'll get right over there. Thanks.
Something wrong?
I don't know yet. Police may have found Mrs. Harrison's car at the bottom of a canyon nearby.
All right, hold it, boys. Put it down right there.
It's Marcia Harrison, all right. You say it might not have been an accident.
Well, there are no skid marks, which means she didn't even try to use her brakes. Then I remember you telling me about the fight she had with her husband.
Suicide?
It's a possibility. All right, boy.
Wonder why she bothered to turn off the ignition if she drove this over the side deliberately.
You're right. I don't know. You got any ideas on this, Barnaby?
Not yet. If I get any, I'll let you know.
Come on. Let's go over to your place and work on those new plays.
Where were you last night? I called you half a dozen times.
Jenny and I went up to her dad's for dinner. Why? What's up?
Didn't you hear the news? It was on TV last night. It was all over the papers this morning.
No, what news?
That chick from the end run, Marcia Harrison, she's dead. Killed in a car crash.
I didn't see the papers. I mean, that's too bad, but that's no reason to go to pieces.
Mark, they found her car not far from my place. And the night the police say she was killed, you were with her.
No, I wasn't.
What are you talking about? You went up there to meet her.
No, she never showed up. I thought she got cold feet, so I went on home. Now, she must have gone off the road on her way up there.
You mean she never got there?
Hey, come on, buddy. Now, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Look, I know how you feel. I feel lousy, too. But it was an accident.
In the absence of evidence to the contrary, we're ruling it an accident, Mr. Harrison.
It wasn't an accident. I killed her. If I hadn't been so hard on her, she'd still be alive.
No point in blaming yourself, Mr. Harrison. Could have happened any place, any time. Are those her things?
And this is the apparel she was wearing. And those are the other items we found on her. I had them sent down.
I know it's hard for you, Mr. Harrison, but you mind looking through them and see if they're all here?
Her scarf, it's missing.
Sure she was wearing it?
Positive. It was her favorite. I gave it to her on our first wedding anniversary.
This key wasn't attached to the others. Kind of a unique design. Is this for any special purpose?
I don't know. I've never seen it before.
I think maybe I have.
What's the matter, old buddy? You look like you just got traded to the Timbuktu Bobcats.
Mark? This scarf? I found it behind the bar.
One of your girlfriends must have left it up here, huh?
No. I haven't had anybody up here since training started. Mark, you sure that Harrison chick wasn't up here Sunday night?
Now, wait a minute. I told you she never showed up here.
Yeah, I know what you told me. But look at this. Looks like blood. She was here, wasn't she? You've been conning me, Mark. That's gotta be it.
Oh, wait a minute, Feather. Hey, look, how did I know she was going to be some kind of a nut? See, first of all, she come on to me, and she was all eyes. And then she come up with this guilty wife bit. I just didn't even know what she wanted of me, you know? Well, things, they got out of hand. She tripped over them stairs and fell down and hit her head.
Oh, man, why didn't you tell me?
Because, Feather, I didn't want you to get mixed up in it. All I could think about was getting rid of the body so nobody knew what happened.
Are you crazy? You can't cover up something like this.
I have to. Listen, if this gets out, they'll clobber me with a morals clause. I'll lose $1 million deal.
You'll get into worse trouble trying to lie your way out of this. That detective who was here, Barnaby Jones, I think he's already onto something. And what if him or the cops start asking more questions?
Then you just tell them you don't know anything.
You want me to lie to the police?
You're my buddy, aren't you? I'd do the same for you if your life was on the line.
But she's dead.
I know she's dead. I know that. All I'm asking is that you cover for me.
I can't lie. Even at liar's poker, I lose my shirt every time I try to bluff. I can't do it, Mark. I can't.
Yeah, well, I guess you never could lie, old buddy. All right, I'll call the police and tell them what happened.
I'll stick by you. You'll see it's gonna come out all right.
Yeah, sure, buddy, sure. Come on, why don't we get dressed? What do you say?
You know, I found you can always count on people in the clutch. And one thing's for sure, you can count on Ginny. She's so mad for you, she'll stand by you no matter what. Sure, she'll be sore for a while, but you'll see, she'll get over it.
How you doing? Well, you're here to see Feather, too, huh?
If he's on?
Well, I spoke to him a couple hours ago. He said he's going to be in all day. I just stopped by to pick up my playbook. I'm Mark Rainey.
I'm a fan of yours. I'm Barnaby Jones.
Barnaby Jones. Say, aren't you the detective Feather was telling me about?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find that missing girl?
I'm afraid so. She was killed in a car crash.
Oh, that's too bad. That's too bad. Well, I guess your job's all done now, huh?
Not necessarily. There's a possibility her death was not an accident. In that case, my job is just beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. That's weird. Feather wouldn't tell me to come by and then take off without saying something.
Let's try this.
Hey, Feather! Oh, my God. Oh. Hey, Mr. Jones! Mr. Jones!
Don't touch anything.
Get on that right away? Well, we'll have to wait for the autopsy report, but offhand, I'd say death occurred less than 2 hours ago. Apparently, he was trying to lift these weights, and they dropped it and fell on his head.
250 pounds? It's an awful lot of weight for a wide receiver to have been lifting.
Wide, narrow, what's the difference? If 1/8 of a ton falls on your head, it's bad luck and goodbye.
Why, Feather? Why did he have to die?
I was hoping you'd help me answer that question.
What do you mean?
Feather was the last person to be seen with Marcia Harrison before she left the end run that Sunday night. She had his key in her purse.
Well, I guess I'm not giving away any secrets by telling you that Feather was quite a ladies' man. She was probably on her way up here to meet him.
Well, that's what I thought, too, until I found out that Marcia left at 8:15 and Feather hung around playing liar's poker till about 2.
He just probably got caught up in the game.
Mr. Rainey, when I was a young man, I used to get caught up in the game of horseshoes. My friends and I would pitch horseshoes for hours until a nice-looking young lady'd come by and throw us a smile. And then suddenly the game would stop in midair. I don't think Feather ever had a date with Marcia.
Wait a minute. You said yourself she was driving up here with Feather's key.
That puzzled me for a while, too. And then I remembered that Feather was a football player. Football is a tricky game. Take you, for instance. You use every fake, reverse, and decoy in the book to get the other team to run after the wrong man.
I don't quite follow your meaning.
Feather could have talked with Marcia, but she could have left with someone else. You were at the end run that night. Have you any idea who that may have been?
No, I left early. I'm not much for nightlife. I got myself a nice wife at home.
What about one of your teammates? Somebody could have had a key to this place.
Maynard Bates, he has a key. He and Feather used to do a lot of running around together. No, wait a minute. Maynard wouldn't be mixed up in a woman's death. I'll stake my life on that.
You're a true friend. Nevertheless, I think I ought to have a talk with Mr. Bates. What time did you leave the end run?
Mr. Jones, I'll level with you. We were all drinking. And with me, 1 shot's enough to make me see pink footballs. 2 drinks and I couldn't even tell you what team I was playing for. All I know is I crawled into a taxi and went on home.
By yourself?
I wasn't in shape for company.
Anybody who would verify that you went straight home?
Mr. Jones, you've got to understand. I wasn't too anxious to have witnesses. Now, if the coach got wind I was bombed the night before practice, I'd be in bad trouble.
Today between 10 and 12. Where were you then?
I went home. Why are you asking me all these questions?
2 people are dead. I'm trying to find out how and why.
You think I had something to do with this?
Not necessarily, but you and Feather were friends. You had a key to his place.
Other guys had keys to Feather's pad.
Who?
I'd rather not say.
Well, I can understand how you feel, but hiding from the truth is kind of like turning your back on a tornado. It still won't stop it from blowing you away.
Feather gave a key to Mark Rainey a long time ago, but I'm sure he never used it since he and Jenny got married.
Anyone else?
Well, I can't be sure.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bates.
What's wrong, officer?
May I see your driver's license? Whose car is this?
What's mine?
Did you know you're driving without rear license plates?
I don't get it. I wonder how that happened.
May I see your registration?
Yeah. That's funny. I always keep it here.
What kind of pills are these?
I don't know. I never saw them before. I don't know how they got in there.
Hey, stand up, please. Stand up. Put your hands against the car.
Feather's dead?
Apparently he had an accident in his home.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry to be the bearer of this kind of news. I was hoping to talk to Mr. Rainey.
Mark, why?
My client's wife was killed several days ago. There may be a connection between her death and Feathers.
What does Mark have to do with it?
I don't know that he has anything to do with it. I just want to know where he was and some other people on Sunday night between 9 and 12. That's the time the coroner said that Mrs. Harrison died.
Well, there's no need to bother Mark about that. He was with me.
Jenny.
We had dinner at 9, and then we talked, and we watched some television, and we went to bed. Is that enough for you, Mr. Jones?
Yes, I think that's all I need for now. Sorry to bother you, Ms. Rainey.
Jennifer, I came by Sunday night. You told me Mark was sleeping. He wasn't even home. Now, you lied to me. Now you've lied to that detective.
Dad, please.
Mark's been running around again, hasn't he? When are you going to face up to the truth about him?
What truth do you want me to face, Daddy? The truth that your daughter's lucky to have any man, yet alone a Mark Rainey?
Hey, Barnaby?
Hello. Betty said you were trying to reach me.
Yeah, I think we found our murderer. The coroner called with the autopsy report on Feather. Your hunch was right. The death wound was caused by a blow from a much smaller object.
You say you know who did it?
Probably the same man that killed Marcia Harrison. Maynard Bates. I'm ready to book you.
You sure you're not making a mistake? I talked to Bates today. He didn't sound like a man who was covering up for a murder.
We have the evidence. Patrolman stopped Maynard's car. The rear license plate was missing. The officer found these pills in the glove compartment, brought him in. I spotted the scarf, called Ken Harrison. He said it belonged to his wife.
What does Bates say?
He still claims he was at home at the time Mrs. Harrison was killed, but he can't prove it. Now, my guess is he took her to Feather's pad. Things got rough, and she ended up dead.
How did Feather end up dead?
Well, there's still no direct evidence linking Bates to Feather's murder, but probably Feather found out what happened, threatened to expose Bates, and Bates killed him to keep him quiet.
Very neat theory.
Which you don't buy.
Mind if I have a talk with Bates?
Feather was my friend. How could I kill him?
You're not being charged with killing Feather. At least not yet. But you are charged with the murder of Mrs. Harrison. I have to admit, things don't look too good there. They found her scarf in your car.
I don't know how it got there. All I know is I didn't kill anybody. Look, maybe I don't have any more brains than it takes to run into people, but I'm not a killer.
You know, we've been very lucky.
How so?
This could have been a very tough case. I mean, we could have been in bad shape if that license plate hadn't fallen off of Bates's car.
What's your point?
Well, the point is that if the license plate hadn't fallen off of Bates's car, the officer wouldn't have stopped him.
But he did. And he found no registration in those pills.
And then he took him down to the station house where somebody could notice the scarf that was wrapped around the pills. Yes, sir. A lot of lucky things have been happening to us. I wonder if we deserved them.
Barnaby, if I don't book Bates, I'd be guilty of nonfeasance.
Mind if I borrow one of these?
What for?
Don't worry, I'm not going to swallow it.
Barnaby, I'll bet you a case of my mother's fudge we have a complete confession in 24 hours.
Lieutenant, much as I like your mother's fudge, I'm going to have to turn down that bet because I think we're going to have a confession, too. And this little pill might just get it for us.
Oh, Mark, thank heavens you're here. You heard about Feather?
Yeah, the team got the word this afternoon. I feel like the whole stadium caved in on me.
Mark, there was a private detective here, a man by the name of Barnaby Jones. He wanted to know where you were Sunday night between the hours of 9 and midnight when some woman was killed near Feather's house.
What'd you tell him?
I told him you were home with me.
Well, that's good. He won't bother us anymore.
But you weren't home. I lied to that detective. Daddy knows that I lied. Now, I made him promise that he wouldn't say anything, but we can't go on telling one lie after another.
Now, Jenny, you're making a big thing out of nothing. Now, I told you, I don't fool around anymore.
Do you think I care about that now? That detective was talking about murder.
You think I'm involved?
I just want you to tell me the truth.
Well, just who's gonna believe the truth? All right, I was at Feather's house that night. I went there to get my playbook. The doorbell rang and it was this woman Feather's been seen. Feather wasn't home, so she thought I'd fill in for her. She came on pretty strong. I pushed her away, she fell down, she hit her head, and she was dead.
Why didn't you call the police?
Well, even if the police did believe that, do you think that your father would have believed it? He would have taken that agency contract, torn it up, and thrown it right in my face.
We don't need my father or the contract. We have our own lives.
What lives, Jenny? You washing floors and me selling shoelaces?
You're a football player. You have the best years of your life ahead of you.
Jenny, I don't have anything. I'm all washed up. I couldn't even make it through the opening game this fall.
What are you talking about?
My arm, it's gone. I heard it in the playoffs. I thought it was just a strain, but it got worse. Well, you saw me at practice when I missed those passes. That's when I knew for sure. I can't throw anymore. I'm finished.
Why didn't you say anything?
Do Do you think they would have signed $1 million endorsement contract with a washed-up quarterback? All I could do was string them along until they signed that contract. Then they'd be committed. Then I'd have a job, money, a future. But Jenny, if your father takes that away from me, I'm nothing. That contract is the only chance I have. Jenny, I never wanted to go near that woman. I swear that.
I believe you. It's gonna be all right. Everything's gonna be all right.
How'd you make out?
Your idea paid off. I just had breakfast with Sam Dudley. He used to play with the Cougars when Rainey first started. Seems that Mr. Rainey was quite a swinger then, and the rumor is he may still be.
Oh? Dr. Stanley, this is Barnaby Jones. About that pill I discussed with you. I just ran an analysis on it, and it turns out to be diazepam. It's a muscle relaxer. Do you have a list of the Cougar team members who are receiving that medication now? Thank you. Yeah? Uh-huh. Thank you, Doctor. Well, that's quite an interesting list the doctor gave me.
Who's on it?
Not so much who's on it as who isn't.
Well, I'll see you later.
Okay.
You have a good day.
You too.
Bye.
Morning, Mr. Rainey.
Morning, Mr. Jones.
Thought you'd be happy to hear the good news. Maynard was released from jail. They dropped all the charges against him.
What charges?
He was a suspect in Marcia Harrison's murder. And Feather Tanner's.
Feather was murdered?
Whoever did it tried to pin it on Maynard Bates. He wrapped some pills in Marcia's scarf and hid it in Maynard's car. Then he made sure it would be discovered.
How do you know it was a frame?
Only 3 of the team were on that pill list. Maynard wasn't on it because he was allergic. 2 of them had airtight alibis. That just leaves one name, Mark Rainey.
But you said yourself that Feather was killed Wednesday morning between 10 and 12. Well, I was at home with my wife Wednesday morning. Wasn't I, Jenny?
Just like you were home when Marcia Harrison was murdered?
Jenny?
Feather was your friend. How many more killings am I supposed to lie about, Mark? He wasn't home Sunday night or Wednesday morning. I don't know where he was. I don't care.
Well, that's a very interesting theory, Mr. Jones. What do the police say about it?
Well, all I told the police was that the pills didn't belong to Maynard. I figured you'd want to tell them the rest of it.
Why so generous?
You used to be a big hero. To me, to a lot of people. I figure that still means something.
I appreciate that. Well, honey, I guess I better go down to that police station.
Mark?
You better come with me, Mr. Jones.
Mark, no! Why? We had everything. I loved you.
I'm sorry, Jenny. I guess it wasn't enough.
Call the police and an ambulance.
Four sevens. Mr. Jones.
Debate.
I'm glad you could make it.
Thank you. This is my daughter-in-law, Betty.
Hi, Betty. It's nice to meet you. Please, come in. Sit down.
Thank you.
Jack, you give my friends anything they want.
Well, Mr. Bates, since it's on you, I'll have an extra tall glass of milk.
How did I know?
Well, I feel really reckless. I will have a glass of milk also. Okay. But I think I'll have a cherry with it.
Oh, you are feeling reckless, aren't you?
I'll take mine straight like Mr. Jones.
Takes an old ball player to handle a good stiff milk. Right, Benji?
Right, Jackie boy. Well, to Eddie Basinski.
Eddie Basinski? Wasn't he the only major league shortstop ever to wear eyeglasses on the field?
Eddie, you amaze me. How do you know that?
It's a secret between me and the old-timers.